We'll be right back to continuous coverage of the NRA's championship buck rubbing and doe dropping competition. But first, we bring you from Nickville the camouflage crooner hits of Joe Gann. Oh. Bubba G, you remember that crooner Joe. He was amazing, and of course everyone knows his world's biggest match. Will you sing it with me? These are the days of Daniel. But he had so many other hits. Yeah, I'm sure he did. Exactly. Speaking of hits, Joe was a hit with the guys who could sweat. You all know what I'm talking about right there. Speaking of sweat, here's one of our sponsors for tonight. We'd like to thank them for being with us. And meanwhile, that reminds me of a song that was performed once upon a time where Joe was about sold. And it went something like this. Well, I went down to the Wichita County Courthouse to visit someone I just had to see. The metal detector made me proceed with caution, but I just had to visit Miss Laura B. And I said, hey, Mr. Sheriff with the gun so big, would you let me in if I wore a wig? I don't mean trouble, it's just a social call. What you doing, sir? Why'd you cock the hammer, though? I don't think I deserve the slammer. I'm going once, going twice. I'm sold to the deputy with the handcuffs. Yes, sir, I believe they're tight enough. He weighs 2, no 3, no 400 pounds. Looks like jail is where I'm bound. All the memories of hearing Joe croon that song. No one can do it like Joe. And you know, I would often listen to my greatest hit CD of Joe when I would go hunting. When I go hunting, I always use windicator, so I know exactly which way the wind is blowing, and you know that's especially important when you go hippopotamus hunting, because you take the big gun and your bullet could be off by hippopotamus hunting. That reminds me of one of my favorite songs of his, when he took the tune of Hippopotamus and sang this song. Would you sing it for us, Bubba G? Senor Erangel, Senor Erangel, das bist die Namen, Senor Erangel, man es Damen, das bist die Namen, kein Spiel gamen, Senor Erangel. Woo! If you shoot a hippo, you done got you a biggin', what I'm talking about. And the real trouble is when you gotta clean that sucker. You know, when you're cleaning them things like we do by the Red River or Possum Kingdom, some of the prettiest waters around, don't you know? Beautiful. Mama always told us, make sure you keep the meat clean. Keep the meat clean. In order to keep the meat clean, we, like to thank our sponsor, recommend everybody get these field dressing bags. You just flip the meat, a hippo go, this thing stretches out. Hippo, right down in that there bag. No dirty hippo meat. Keep the meat clean. Just like the time that Joe wrote that song for his brother and sister-in-law. I'm trying to remember how it went. In 1976, I went outside to play at good old Harold School. It was a fateful day upon the monkey bars, a game of chicken play. When radio, I had to pull off the road. I really had to stretch my mind to go back and remember that. And speaking of stretching, when you go hunting, you want to stretch the game trail to where you are when you're deer stand, because you want those big ones to come right up to you. You put these stretch wicks along the trail into the wood and put some good old scented meat and bait in those. Bring them right to where you can get them with the gun and the bow. And speaking of stretching, you really have to stretch to believe that Gilbert can pronounce any of this German that he's trying to do as he recreates Joe's big hit. Das Gloriosa! How does that go? Remind me. Just in graduation, I am going to see from Weldon's great directions. I'm not sure where I'll be. I don't know where Justin's gonna stand in that line. I only know for sure that Justin's really gonna shine. Das Gloriosa, Das Gloriosa. Wearing the captain and Caesar gown, Das Gloriosa, Das Gloriosa. Justin will turn in the collegiate world is upside down.